You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good afternoon, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talk's MLB update. How's everybody doing today? Trying to actually check our Facebook feed, see if we're live, and it does not appear we are. Facebook seems to do what they want to do again. Thank you for your efforts. You guys can click on the profile picture if you're looking for it on TGI Sports Talk. If not, on my personal page, we are live. God knows what they do over here. I'm just... Is it biting the hand that feeds me if I just bitch and moan about Facebook right and left? I don't really care. Make this thing work right. I'm going to try something here. Bear with me. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I was until I saw this colossal screw up again. Says I'm live, but I'm not going to mess with it. Because I can't share it after this either. That's the other problem. Let me remove it and put it back. Hang out with me. Bear with me, guys. Will I do this? I apologize. I'm going to put it back in. I got to remove it first. Sure, we'll waste 5 minutes of our show doing this because Facebook is clueless on how to do things. Anyway, hello. Welcome to everybody watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. We're live on National Streaming Sports Roku channel. I hate the picture on Roku. I really do. See how I got pixelation around me if you watch on there? We obviously are going to have trouble keeping track of our thoughts today, so I apologize. Again, welcome everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Twitter. We thank the groups. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities. Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime. The Love for Baseball. Flo and the Gang at Bottom Line Sports. Let's Talk Sports. Ken Krause at Golf Bud, Sports of All Sorts. And a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Does the Sports Corner from every Tuesday from 4 to p.m. Eastern with Smoking Jim Frazier. I've been a guest there, and I've always enjoyed myself. And watch Ralph's stuff. We had a repeat of a Mackie Sasser interview this morning on One-on-One with Keith Engle. Hope you enjoyed it. I got the pixelation here, too. If I go higher, and I need more light. I need something. I don't know what I need. I'm upset with everything today. He's got a bad attitude today. Never a good sign. Who's with us this morning or this afternoon? We here in the wonderful country of California. I got thinking about this, Danny, after the show Sunday, and I guess I should include New York actually as its own country as well, because we're not much better than California here. JB, welcome. Orioles playing good baseball. 8-2. What did they move to within 10 games of 500 or something like that? 11 games. 11 games of 500. Your best streak of the season. Still 13 games out of first, unfortunately. Well, how are you guys doing today? Lots to talk about. We'll get into who's hot. Who's hot, by the way? We talked about the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Yankees continue to win 7 into the last 10. We'll get into the standings in general. But how about the whole AL East is hot, but except for the Red Sox. Boo-hoo. Dodgers continue to lead by 2 games out west. But the big news, the Rockies win 3 in a row. What? Break up the Rockies? So the Rockies hit my hot list and my cold list because they're 3-7 in their last 10, but they won their last 3. And they're now on a pace to win 32 games instead of 26. So, they've made some progress this week. Good for them. White Sox are being sold. Other big news. Lindor is out. As the injuries continue to pile up in Major League Baseball. What is going on? Lindor's out. Pablo Lopez out 6 to 8 weeks. Corbin Burns is out. Kumar Rocker sent to the minors. Good call, Drew. He was my rookie of the year pick for this year. Jack Caglion gets called up by the Royals. What are the Royals doing? I understand. I'm not for sticking guys in the minors just to save a year of arbitration, but to bring a guy up on, I don't know what it was, June 2nd or 3rd, when you could have waited 2 more weeks and gained a year of arbitration, or, you push the arbitration out another year, seems like it makes no sense. Either bring them up to start the season or wait 2 weeks. I just don't get it. Seems like gross mismanagement to me, no? Another thing I saw, we'll talk a little bit during this show maybe, is Manny Machado is on pace to be, I don't know, the 33rd guy or whatever to have, I want to say 350 home runs and 2,000 hits by the time they're 32, something like that, 30-some guys. But he's only a handful of hits away from 2,000. He's 32 years old. If he gets to 3,000, is he going to be the last guy ever? There's only 20 years ago, there was roughly 27 guys playing in the major leagues that had 2,000 hits. Right now, there's about 6. Nope, sorry, 5. It'll be 6 once Machado gets there. I'm not sure any of these guys are going to get to 3,000. Freddie Freeman's got 23, 36. He's 35. 200 hits a year for 3 years gets him there, roughly. Well, maybe in 4 years. He needs at least 4 years, 4 good years to get there. Could be a reach. Jose Altuve needs at least 4 good years to get there. McCutcheon's not getting there. He's 38 years old. He's just short of 2,200. Paul Goldschmidt's not getting there. Manny Machado is at 972 at age 32. Probably, I guess you could look at that as almost probably close to Freeman's pace. He's a little ahead of Freeman's pace. I don't know if we're going to see another 3,000 hit guy. I mean, we understand we're never going to see 300 wins again. Something drastically changes, but 3,000 hits? We make all these rule changes for guys to have higher batting averages and nothing works. Again, I'll repeat myself. Every rule change, every major rule change since 1968 has been for the hitter. Lowering the mound, the DH, smaller parks, no shifts, harder baseballs. And yet batting average continues to go down. It's going to be 250 or below for about the 6th straight year. Balls and I'm not a big fan of this. I guess it's an important stat. You know me and new age stats. I'm not a big fan. This one, I guess, makes some sense. But balls put in play are going to be at the lowest average in maybe forever. So why are guys not hitting? I mean, we look at teams like the Rockies, I guess we get when they hit 220 and have a 280 on base percentage. Again, I will continue to tell you that you put all the rules changes in you want. If you don't correct guys' flaws in their mechanics and the fundamental way they approach the game, and in this case, approach at bats, you're not going to have guys hitting. You get a handful of guys that'll do it, but you're not going to have guys hitting consistently 330, 340. I mean, even what's his name? Arias. I know I'm saying the name wrong. Drew Aria, help me out. He won with only a 314 batting average before. I think the lowest before that, I'd have to look this up, but I'm guessing the lowest before that was before they lowered the mound, and when Carl Yastrzemski, I believe Carl Yastrzemski won a batting title at 301. There's Michael Gott from across the pond. Michael, you had a couple questions that you brought up on the college football huddle the other night that I did broach, but I'd be happy to get into those topics again today. I don't remember exactly what they were. My 35-year-old mind being what it is and all. Oh, guys, I know I give you weekly updates, so here we go. Whoops, wrong way. 82 days, 10 hours. If I take out weekends, PTO, and I guess just one more holiday, right? It's 47 work days. Yeah, didn't think we'd ever get here. I'm excited. So we'll get into the standings here in a little bit. We can talk about the White Sox being sold. We can talk about the KC's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't like the fact that teams sit on guys in the minors to, keep them away from arbitration. Wish I knew why my headset was doing that so bad today. Looks worse on Roku though. I usually get on teams for stashing guys, right, and trying to protect them. But when you've already done it, and you can wait 2 more weeks, why are you bringing a guy up? I think he's like the number 3 prospect in baseball, number 10 prospect in baseball. Michael knows one. It was Ohtani chasing the Babe's season run record, right? I think he's on a pace to miss it by about 7 or 8 right now, something like that. And the Babe did it in less games than Ohtani would have a chance to play, of course. And I'm not an asterisk guy. So if you remember Roger Maris and the stories of his asterisk, which Ford Frick, who was I think it was Ford Frick, might have been the commissioner at the time, and said there'd be an asterisk applied to Roger Maris's record. Where are the asterisks for Barry Bonds, by the way? Because Maris played in more games. If he didn't hit it in the same number of games that the Babe did, then wouldn't count. Ohtani's a great player. He's going to have a chance. He's got a great lineup ahead of him. He hits leadoff, so he's going to get a lot more chances probably than the Babe even had as far as any. He's going to drive himself in, 50 or 55 times. He could have it. I'm trying to remember what the other one was, too. There was something else. Bagwell. Jeff Bagwell's. Let's look at Jeff Bagwell's record. By the way, Jeff Bagwell should be in the Hall of Fame. Another guy that I always campaign for. Gets caught up with the steroid guys. Let's see what Jeff Bagwell's numbers were in 2000. 152. What's the record for runs scored? He led the league that year. MLB, I can't remember. Record for runs scored in season. The Babe. It's not. It was Billy Hamilton in 1894. 198. Now we're getting to that, by the way. Let's see who else is on this list, by the way. Modern day, it might be while you're thinking of the Babe. Here it is, season leaders. Billy Hamilton. So all these were prior to 177 is the Babe's record, 1921. Prior to 1900, sometimes we don't look at those. Billy Hamilton, Not the Billy Hamilton we're thinking of from the Reds, by the way. He scored 198, and he was just 28 years old, by the way. And Bagwell stands quite a ways back when you look at it. Tied for 30th, but there's also a bunch of ties in there, so there's probably 45 guys ahead of him. Great season. That tells you how hard it is to do. So I'm going to say no. Ohtani's not breaking that record. The Babe had 177 in 1921. Not happening. I thought there was another question. Maybe you mentioned Bagwell. I know you mentioned Bagwell, so maybe it was only one question. Michael. So thank you for that. Again, we can get Ohtani is throwing. We mentioned last week. Danny, I think you might have left before I had a chance to address this, and I'd love to have your input here. My thinking is he's going to pitch out of the bullpen. Probably sometime around the All-Star break, we'll start seeing him. I think they will start him out of that. Now I'm live on Facebook. Thank you, Facebook, for actually doing what you tell me you will do. Maybe not right on time. I'm in a mood today. This happens on Fridays a lot, doesn't it? Maybe when I retire, it'll be better for this show, or I should move this show time. It is something for you guys to consider. When I retire, this show doesn't have to be done 3:00. 3:00 Friday afternoon. I can do it whenever we decide it should be done. Danny, I'd love to have it at a convenient time for you. Michael, you too. JB, all you guys. Drew, if you're out there. It may continue now. That's the same time as we do it now, but everything's on the table for changing. The only thing that won't change is the Sunday Stream of Consciousness will continue at 8:30 a.m. All our other shows, depending on some factors with Roku and things like that. Things where we're locked into times now. If we're not locked into times going forward, my shows could change. And I want to have consistent times, day and times. Don't get me wrong. But there's nothing to say we're locked into this. So I don't know why I brought that up. What do you got here, Michael? Did Bagwell got that one? It's this one. I guess a bit of obscure question. Do you think there'll be another expansion team in baseball, and should there be? No, I'll answer the second part first. No. The talent's already too far thinly stretched. Even though the hitters are behind pitchers, it seems there's not enough quality pitchers to go around. There's not enough quality fielder position players even. I mean, when's enough? Do I think they'll do it? I do. You got Charlotte clamoring for a team. Portland's been clamoring for a team for the longest time. Now they could relocate franchises. Tampa's in trouble. We know Oakland's already moved. I'm trying to think of teams that could be in trouble off the top of my head. Those two come to mind right away. But yeah, I mean, Charlotte's already lost major sporting teams in basketball. And also, geez, I want to say maybe it's hockey. But it's a booming metropolis. If you've been to that area, you see what's happened there in the last 10 years. They badly want Major League Baseball. Nashville's another place that's a possibility. So do I think that, and that's not an obscure question, actually, I wouldn't say, Michael, because it gets talked about a lot. Rob Manfred wants to expand. He's talked about expansion. We forget the times just, 10 years ago, maybe a little further back, 15 years ago, we were talking about contraction. The Expos nearly went away before they moved to Washington. The Twins nearly went away. Twins, a storied franchise going back to their days in Washington and in Minnesota. So, talking about expansion always worries me in every sport. Yeah, I didn't rewatch the interview with you guys today because I was busy, but I remember I had some interesting interviews. Mackey, I've had some interesting interviews. Mackey was really good. Mackey caught in the major leagues. He was a coach for the longest time. Mackey and a lot of catchers and pitchers are not former catchers and pitchers are not for the pitch clock because they worry about injuries. I worry about lots of things. The pitch clock affects more than what people just the time of the game. I do believe it's contributing to injuries, as a bunch of guys that I've interviewed have thought. I think it's helped the lead in along with the shortening of the base pass. Again, when you enlarge the the bases, you have no choice but to shorten the base pass. So that, along with pitchers on a clock, and you can only throw over so many times, have contributed to stolen base increases. I think the pitch clock plays into that. I think you will lose. I've talked about a lot with the pitch clock, Michael, about there are dramatic moments in baseball that would never have been as dramatic if there'd been a pitch clock. Making sure, I think right back, and the one that always comes to mind to me is Kirk Gibson. Kirk Gibson's home run in 1988 World Series, Game 1. Couldn't walk. Barely. If you saw him, he had all he could do to get from the dugout to the home plate. And every time he swung, it took him, a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get himself back together so he could get in there and take another swing. And the drama built and built and built through this entire bat until he finally hits a home run that nobody ever expected. You wouldn't have had that dramatic buildup with a pitch clock. Again, inadvertent issue. Anyway. A lot of former players don't like the rules. Our Major League Baseball listening not only all the fans, Keith, but the new fans. Well, yes, this has been a problem that myself and Bob Costas have talked about. Not just myself and Bob Costas. There's a lot of people in the game today who think Bob Costas is just an old fuddy-duddy who doesn't want his game messed with. Well, so am I then. I don't want my game messed with. I want my game back. I've said this 100 times. Still a big baseball fan. Huge baseball fan. But this doesn't even resemble the game I grew up watching and playing. Not even close. We worry about exit velocities and launch angles and things that are just ridiculous. We look to implement rules because we don't want to teach kids fundamentals, how to hit the ball the other way, how to put your bat on the ball in general. Don't hit into the shift. Oh, I don't know. Running to first base, playing defense, the art of the steal, hitting runs, moving runners along, bunting. What the hell's a bunt? I was trying to think. We were talking about some interviews I've had in the past, right? I had Billy Martin Jr. on a few months back, quite a few months back now. And I said, if your dad was still managing and we had this, starting extra innings with a man on third base, I could see Billy bunting twice. Why don't players, nobody bunts the guy to third base. Nobody. Billy would have bunted twice, probably squeezed him in. But nobody even bunts the guy to third base. You know why? Nobody can bunt. Look, I'm sure it's out there, but I would challenge any of you to go find me a clip of a player bunting a guy to third base in the 10th inning or later. No, I know what you meant. true fans are old fans, really, quite frankly. Michael, again, one of the reasons all these rule changes could get put into place, I've said over and over again, I said earlier, maybe you weren't here, I don't know, but every major rule change in Major League Baseball since 1968 has basically been to help the hitters and help offense, because especially now with video games and ESPN, we want to see long home runs. We want to see guys standing at home plate watching their long home runs. Don't run just in case it doesn't go out. Do you know how many triples I've seen turned into doubles and doubles turned into singles in the last 20 years? So the true fans are the old fans, unfortunately. I'm sorry, young guys. I know you love these 9 to 8 games. I don't. I'm okay with a well-played 2-1 game. Well pitched. No errors. Tight. Dramatic. And guess what? It can go 24 innings, and I'm okay with that. So the old guard is the true guard. I'm not sure, and Michael, I don't think we've ever talked about your age, and you don't have to share if you don't want to. But I find people in my own age bracket, the Danny Fullers of the world. Oh, if you're still with me, Danny, I don't want to speak for you. Danny is here when I said we kind of think the same way. So frustrating, man. There's JB. Oh, I'm not just, you're right, JB. It's not just baseball. Not like the 70s. My 70s are always my favorite era, probably for every sport. Even though my football team came of age really in the 2000s. I love the 70s. When I play, I talk a lot that I play in Stratomatic leagues online. There's a 365. They're mystery cards, right? I don't know if you know anything about Stratomatic. If you don't, it's a dice game we played when I was a kid, and they were very elaborate cards. Drew knows. Drew still has cards from the 70s era, and someday I'm going to actually play a series with them. But I play online, the online game, which isn't nearly as fun, but I play the 70s era all the time because that's my favorite era. The NFL, you have to watch now. Everything. You change rules to protect players. It's easier to throw the ball. And again, not to belabor the NFL point, but I encourage John Gonzalez from the Sports Authority to join his group. It's a great group. I incurred his wrath a few weeks back or a month ago when I kind of, I guess, berated, for lack of a better term, Joe Namath as the most overrated player in the NFL Hall of Fame. He won the most important game. He was a really good player, and the game was different then. I can't compare the numbers that Bradshaw and Stabler and Namath and guys like this had compared to Brady and Breeze, because first of all, it was a lot harder to throw the ball then, and you were actually a football player when you were a quarterback then. So I get it. And the NBA can be unwatchable. But again, baseball is where it really hurts my heart when I watch the way the game is played. JB, I don't know if I've ever asked how old you are. Because to Michael's point, I almost think when he meant to say true fans. He said all the fans. And I talked about people my age. Me and Bob Costas. People want to get on him for being cranky about the way the game's played today. They shouldn't. Pitchers don't have to pitch. We baby pitchers, they hurt their arms. We wonder why. They never finish what they start. Actually, there's more complete games this year than I was shocked to see how many there were. Oh, you're a spry 58, my friend. I would sign up to be 58 tomorrow. I've only got, I say I'm 65. I'll be 65 in just 10 weeks. Something like that. 9 weeks. I've always been, when I hit my 65th year, I'm 65. So I've been 65 since January. Yeah, but I find guys in your age group to mine, and even a little younger, still think like I think, right? They don't think it's okay to stand in a box admiring what you hope is a home run, only to find out it bangs off the wall and you've got a single. The whole way to get there's a handful of guys who play the game the right way. But overall, the game is not played the way it should be played. And is that just because I'm old and cranky? Maybe. Don't really care. Taylor Phillips, hello. If you're watching still, Taylor, check out Taylor's stuff. The Michigan Truth podcast does some great stuff there. Say hello in this chat anytime, Taylor. You can certainly feel free to join in. And MD, I'm going to mess your name up, so I'll just say MD is Islam. Hello there. You guys can feel free to say hi. Michael, so we're all in the same era, right? Although you are a baby in this group, JB. Oh, I'd love to be 50 again. I don't need to be that young. Actually, I've enjoyed my 60s. I really have. Probably the best 5 years of my life. And now I'm going to retire, and I'm going to have the best 35 years of my life until I'm 100. So, anyway, that's where we're at. Everybody's giving their age, Drew. You better get ready. Mayo bumped the guy the other day and benches cleared. In the end, he was wrong. Not thrown at next time. Listen, I'm okay too. You know, there's the other thing with the game, the way the games change. You can't throw inside. Nobody pitches inside. And if you come inside, guys take offense to it. I'd love to see guys like Drysdale and Gibson pitch today. Or even Clemens. I am. Thank you, Drew. Hello to you too. Friday afternoons, I'm cranky. I'm thinking in a couple of months I won't be as cranky on Fridays. We'll see where we land. Sorry, traffic is awful. Where are you, Drew? We were talking about 3,000 hits at the top of the show, and if you weren't here, it's odd that you came across this. I started off the show talking about Manny Machado being a few hits away from 2,000 at 32 years old, and he'd be like, I don't know, the 33rd guy ever to get to 350 homers and 2,000 hits before he's 32 or at the age 32. But the fact that he's getting to 2,000 hits, he'll be just the sixth active player with 2,000 hits. 20 years ago, there was like 28 of those guys. And the only guys with any shot are Manny's 32. He's still got to have productive. And Manny's been much more consistent and productive than I've given him credit for, quite frankly. But Freddie Freeman's got 23, 36. He's at 35. He's got to have at least 4 good years to get to 3,000. Got a shot, but you don't know what's going to happen after 35. So Altuve, who seemed like a lock at one point, is just short of 2,300. He could get there with 4 productive years. McCutchen will not. Goldschmidt will not. And then Machado. Sorry, Machado's the 5th guy. Sorry, there will be 5 guys when he gets there. So all these rules get put in, as I said, just to kind of recap what I was saying before. All these rules get put in to help the offense. Pitch clocks. Yes, it does help offense. Eliminate the shifts. Smaller ballparks. All these things. All this emphasis, but then you don't put emphasis on actually doing the things that will help you take advantage of those changes, right? We still hit into the limited shifts teams can put on. Too many fly balls. We care about launch angles and exit velocity instead of just putting a bat on the ball. So it's amazing to me that we make all these changes into the game and guys still are not going to ever hit 3,000 hits again. What did I say? Asterisk? Asterisk works for me. What is it? Asterisk? Oh, asterisk. Don't spell it out for me. I thought you had 3 different words there. Asterisk works for me, just like the foliage outside. It's blowing around a little bit now. Yeah. It's just part of my quirkiness. It's my inability to, it's sometimes not even my inability. It's my refusal to pronounce words correctly. Drew, I want your opinion on something. Oh, you were listening in the car. Cool. I want your opinion on the, and anybody's opinion. I'll get back to Michael and JB got a couple of things. Joe Caglion called up by Kansas City. Listen, and again, I've said for years, I'm not for teams protecting that year of arbitration or years of arbitration by keeping guys down. If he was good enough to play in June, he was good enough to play in April. Why would you call him up when in 2 weeks you would have still had an extra year of control? I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, it seems like an irresponsible thing for the Royals to do. Now, if they started off the season with him, I'd have no issue here. Because if he was going to make them a better team, he should have been there in April. And if he wasn't then, but is now, then wait 2 more weeks. Michael, like baseball, they ruined cricket, did they? This is a cricket lesson because I don't know a lot about cricket. Once it was first class cricket with 2 innings a team and 4 or 5 days of play. Now they brought in more formats and it's ruined tradition. Well, again, that's my biggest thing. Tradition doesn't matter. The history of the game doesn't matter, right? And that bugs me. If I'm cranky, yeah, always makes me cranky. These conversations always get me cranky. But the reality is they don't care about us, Michael. You mentioned before. They care about the people who theoretically they think that are the demographic they want to go after, who are the young guys. They want to bring all the young guys in because they have disposable income. I don't know about you, but I got more disposable income now at 65 years old than I ever had in my entire life. Is there something backwards about this? Maybe I'm losing my mind. I don't know. Drew was listening in the car. So I caught up. Might be see seasonal records fall occasionally, but no more lifetime records will be falling. I'm trying to think of any. Maybe home runs, but here's the thing, even home runs. Guys aren't going to play long enough, right? I don't think they'll play long enough to break home run records. Just think, well, I guess maybe, lifetime batting average? No. I mean, who's going to hit 350 for the career? Who leads? Is it Ty Cobb or Hornsby? Nobody's going to hit that for a career. We're lucky when guys hit 314 for the season. Was I right too when, my favorite guy to mispronounce his name, Raza? No, it's not his name, Drew. Don't worry. Won a batting average at 314. Now, I could look this up, and I don't feel like it. Am I wrong that that's probably the lowest since Yastrzemski won the year before they lowered the mound at 301? Not sure. I think it is. Dick Allen might have won in the 70s at like 312 or 311 with the White Sox. I can't think of a lower one, though. JB's a numbers guy. Well, that's why that's a good thing about baseball. Baseball is a numbers game. It's not all about numbers. The eye test still means something. Guys who do intangibles mean something, but baseball's a numbers game. Do we know the demographics of baseball fan base? Well, these rules are created for the younger generation. Get them interested. I agree. I think I just kind of touched on that right before I saw your comment. But why chase away the guys who have been here for 50 years watching them? The guys who actually have the money to buy the toys. Well, I guess they can go into debt. So they got disposable income in the sense that they got credit and they can buy the stuff that they want to sell them. Cars. And I guess they figure out 65-year-old guys aren't going to buy that many more cars. But we're the guys with the money. I just think they're backwards. And by the way, those guys have those people that we're talking about have the attention span of a gnat. They're going to watch 5 things at a time. They're going to go back and forth. And by the way, if you can find the games, Yankees were on. What the hell were they on the other night? Apple? No, Prime. In the middle of the week, just stop. And I know it's not going to get better. At least when they're on Prime, I have the option of watching the Yankee announcers, which isn't necessarily a good thing. The joy of baseball is having different dimension ballparks, 100% agree, which mixed up the game toward defense and offense, and that knowing was fascinating. I'm sure, I don't know if cricket had standard dimensions, right? But again, one of the things that set baseball apart from basketball and football and hockey even is, we didn't have a standard size field. You started to get that way in the 70s with the cookie cutter fields. But Scott Colby, how are you? You'll have an update on your health on Sunday. And how about a joke that the Red Sox? I'm looking forward to your update, Scott, and I pray it's a good one, my friend. We've had you in our thoughts and our prayers since you first filled me in on your situation. You've been there all the time, and I hope you're going to come with a great update. And the Red Sox are a joke. I started early that the pretty much the whole AL East is playing well, very well, except for the Red Sox. I got Drew's comment. Drew's trying to block my face again. Good job. Very strategic, too. Casey's not producing offensively, so they need his bat. They couldn't wait 2 weeks. Again, my point isn't just they should have brought him up in April, Drew. It's also, and maybe you'll get to this later in your comment, it's also the fact that if you're going to bring him up June 2nd, why not bring him up June 17th? And they had just moved him up a few weeks ago. He also was a first baseman, and they were breaking him into right field for the first time, so they could bring him up. So yes, I understand why they brought him up now instead of waiting. That's desperation. Earlier, I get. I'm okay with that. I understand everything you're pointing out here makes perfect sense. But the fact that you bring him up on June 2nd or 3rd, whatever the date was, when you wait 14 days, which isn't going to be 14 games. It's probably, it might be 13. Could be 14, I guess. It's irresponsible to me. I mean, how desperate can you be? I mean, you're not going to fall. You're not falling out of the race. I mean, where are they in a wild card race? They're still a game behind. He's going to make whatever. You play 500 baseball for the next 2 weeks. You're still where you were. Maybe you lose a game or two the way everybody else is playing like crap. Mariners also playing bad. Fell to second place now. The Astros are in first. Rangers, they can't figure it out. They win a bunch in a row, then lose a bunch in a row. But how about those Colorado Rockies? I said this earlier, too. 3 wins in a row. They hit both my lists, the hot and the not, because they're 3-7 in their last 10, but they did win their last 3, and they're on a pace to lose 131 games, and win 32. So they picked up like 6 games, and they're trending. So very good job. So anyway, Drew, back to your point here. I agree 100% with all the stuff, why he didn't play early. That's great. And what is he? Isn't he like the number 3 prospect in baseball? Or I could be mixing up 2 stories. I feel like he is. Judge looks to be on his way to 700. Now, I don't think he'll play long enough, though. And with that big body, it's going to be hard to stay healthy because he's 30. What is he, 33 now? What is he? Yeah, let me. By the way, Scott, your news is going to be good on Sunday. We're looking forward to it. And there's going to be a lot to talk about on Sunday and other sports as well, by the way, because I started to type in there and somebody else, which we're not going to get into today, but I'm sure we will on Sunday. So Judge is, I think he's 33. Yeah, he's 33 years old. I don't know how he can get to 700. So to get to 700, he's got 336 today. He needs 364 more home runs. Even if he played 10 years till he was 43, he'd have to average 34 home runs a year. So if he played till he was 39, that's 5 more years, or 6 more years, and produced like he is now, he'd have to hit, if he hit 50 a year, he'd only be at 600 only. It's a good number, by the way. 636. I can't see Judge getting to, he might get to 600. But the problem is I worry about his body breaking down as he gets older. And speaking of Judge, is there any doubt who the best player in baseball is? Is there any doubt left? Maybe when Ohtani comes back and he's pitching, winning 20 games, which nobody wins anymore, and is striking out a bunch of guys and affecting the game and off the mound as well as at bat, then we'll have a conversation. But until he wears a glove, no, he doesn't come up in the conversation for me. Sorry. You want to talk just about hitters? We'll put him in the conversation. We'll put Soto in the conversation. If he ever hits again, he'll hit. But he doesn't help you in any other phase of the game. Now, one other phase, I defy anybody to tell me that he helps a team. And I said this when he got traded to the Yankees. Any of you guys, and all you guys would follow me at that point and watching this show, I said he'll help you in the batter's box. He's a great hitter. That's it. And he's showing that colors. He's showing more of his true colors in Flushing. Are they still in Flushing? Than he did in the Bronx. Judge is the best player in baseball to me right now by far. Teams had to adapt to the dimensions in a stadium. Absolutely. Roger Maris took advantage of the short porch in Yankee Stadium. Sold the Babe. 296 down the line, I think it was, back in the old Yankee Stadium. Not even a refurbished model. You got the wall in Fenway. You got, the wind in Chicago. You got, quirky bounces in, I'm trying to think of some other ballparks. Most of those great ballparks are gone, but at least the newer ballparks, they've tried to put some character into them, right? That being said about Caglion, the White Sox bringing up catcher Kyle Keel, their number 2 prospect and number 26 in baseball today, is more interesting. He was part of the Crochet deal. I don't know if it's more interesting to me. White Sox aren't going anywhere. And I don't, again, I'm not sure if it's cool. Good for him. Interest is in the eye of the beholder. Again, the day they brought Caglione up, I said, what are they doing? Smart front offices don't do that. 53%. Oh, Scott's got some statistics here for us. 53% of U.S. residents between the ages of 13 and 64 have watched Major League Baseball the last calendar year. I want a bigger breakdown, though. I want a breakdown of 13 to 30. Yeah, it's 302. I was close. I said 301, 1968. Yeah, the year before they lowered the mound. It's still the lowest one to lead a league. Yeah, I think it's the lowest. The lowest prior to 314 of a couple last year. When did your boy, whose name I won't say, to hit 314? Maybe Dick Allen had a year in there. I believe he beat out Alex Johnson that year, if I'm not mistaken. Drew, before we wrap it up, you got to give me some birthdays to work on here, man. Favorite part of my show, the show for me, is seeing how many of those guys I can give you a little quick summation of who they are. That's a more realistic estimation for me. 54 years old. They want to go younger. So we have to make the game about offense and make it look like a video game, which is why they promote guys standing at home plate, watching, home runs turn into singles. Thank you, Scott. JB always goes back to look at 70s and 80s players. Here's a name I was looking at today, the Roadrunner, Ralph Garr. Put together some really good years. He had 350-something one year with the Braves, I think, right? Never a great player, but he had some interesting seasons in the 70s and 80s. Definitely played I believe, Braves, White Sox, and that might have been it. He was an interesting guy. I mean, I think he swung. He feels like I remember him as a guy who swung at pretty much everything. So hitting 354 was, pretty good for him. And he had some other good years, and he was a decent ball player for sure. Number one prospect, number 10 in baseball. Thank you for that, Drew. I was close. What's this, Keith? Just read on the news. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred playing some. Yes, I did hear this too. I had this on my list to talk about, and we haven't gotten to it. I know some guys are okay with. I'll just say hello to Rick quick before I continue. Rick's pulling a Scott and showing up at the end of the show. Good afternoon, Rick. Anyway, where's your comment here again? I did have this down, Michael, and they're experimenting with it. They did in spring training. Some teams opted out of it. They've used it in some minor leagues, and I've seen it. It works pretty fast, but again, I'm not okay just taking the human element out of sports, officiating or playing or whatever. I just am not. I know Danny, and I don't think Danny's with us any longer because, here at the show, by the way, to be clear. Danny had a post the other day, but I think it was, maybe it was a Galarraga, not non-perfect game that when Jim Joyce blew the call at first base. There was nobody more gracious about that than Galarraga, by the way. And a mistake got made, and it's part of baseball. And I just don't like, replay's been bastardized, something terrible. You want to put it in just to cover home run calls? Fine. Which is what it was for in the beginning. But now on bang plays at second base where a guy slides in hard and his foot comes a millimeter off the base, we call him out. And we challenged that, by the way. They bastardize it. Every rule gets bastardized, especially replay rules, gets bastardized into something it's not supposed to be. And apparently I like the word bastardized because I use it a lot. So to your point, Michael, I hate it. And I believe he's going to push it for next season, as you said. And it'll probably get through. I wasn't at the home today. All right, here we go with the birthplace. Let's see how I do. Ooh, Joey Lucchesi, that's a tough one. A pitcher, not sure where. Anthony Rendon, we all know. I don't like the game. Big contract in California. Doesn't play. Kazawa, there's a good one. Don't know that one. Matt Belisle, I believe, was a pitcher. Jeremy Afflet, I know, was a pitcher. Left-handed. Mark Ellis, infielder with Oakland and maybe a couple other teams. Maybe Toronto. Played a few different positions. Tony, this is a tough one today. Tony Graffinino, not real sure on that one. Max Venable, I know, was a outfielder with the Giants and a couple others. Dave Bergman, former Yankee prospect, met Dave Bergman when I was at baseball camp, Lemoyne College baseball camp in 1977. Was a Yankee prospect playing in Syracuse at that time. Went on to play with the Tigers and I think the Giants, maybe the Astros. Was a decent player with the Tigers. I think in the World Series here, even in 1984. Bud Harrelson, we all know, met shortstop. Merv Retman, a very good platoon player with the Orioles, and before that with the Reds. Think he played with the Angels as well. Carl Wiley, don't know him. Bill Dickey, of course, great Yankee catcher. And Wild Bill Wright. Not sure about Wild Bill Wright either. Didn't you guys hear it's going to be a short fielder? Yeah. Scott, don't joke about these things. Rob Manfred could be watching a show now and saying, that's a pretty good idea. A short fielder. I do seem weaker on the pitchers. Yes, I do. Much weaker on the pitchers. I don't know why. Some of them I get. There's so many more of them, I guess, and so many more. The position players were easier to follow, even the more obscure ones for me. But some of the obscure pitchers are a little tough. After inning number 7, they are going to slow pitch baseball. How about a T? I know the Sox are talking to Jamie Moyer. Teach your kid to be left-handed. Glad Rick and I could make the show though late. I'm always glad when you guys make the show, whenever you make it. I think I am going to go through the schedule here real quick. You guys, we'll go a couple of minutes late because I don't know what's going on Roku anymore. I'll say goodbye to the Roku people, and then we'll go a couple of minutes late, just in case there's a show coming on. Since Mac's been gone, God bless you, Mac. I don't know where you are. I really don't know what the schedule is, and I don't like stepping on anybody's toes. So let me say goodbye to the Roku people, and the rest of you can stay on. I'm going to go through the goodbye, Roku people. We're going to bye-bye. We'll go through the schedule, and we'll take a couple more comments since Drew and Rick showed up late. If you got any more? Scott's got some great new rule changes for Rob Manfred. Let's look at the schedule this weekend and see if there's anything fun to look forward to. Miami and Tampa Bay are playing today. Last I saw, it was 3-1 in the 7th inning. If somebody's got an update, they can give it to us. Edward Cabrera started against Zach Littell. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh will play starting tonight. Joe Ross against Bailey Falter. The Rangers, who don't know who they are, will play the Nationals. Patrick Corbin A little bit of a rebirth for Patrick Corbin after being one of the worst pitchers in baseball the last couple of years. Let me take that down. Sorry. He'll pitch against Michael Soroka today. Scott's and AC's not with us today. Beloved Red Sox will visit the Yankees. Walker Buehler against Will Warren. Will Warren's pitched really well until his last time out, where his ERA blew up like crazy. Always interesting when the Red Sox and the Yankees play each other. So a lot of fun to be had there. They're on the MLB network tonight. For those of you who hate or love, horribly broadcast games, we have Apple TV's doubleheader. Regional coverage tonight. The Diamondbacks will be at Cincinnati, Eduardo Rodriguez at Nick Lodolo, and the Cubs at the Tigers, Ben Brown against Skubal. By the way, Cincinnati, I noticed Linda Pearl, if you remember, I saw a picture of her and Patrick Duffy, one of my favorite actors. I'm a huge Dallas fan. They've got they're going around the country promoting their Duffy dough. Bakes bread. It's dough you buy and you bake bread, you bake pizza dough, a lot of stuff, really cool stuff. I follow them on Facebook. But she sang the national anthem the other day at whatever they call the ballpark in Cincinnati these days. So congratulations to them. I don't know why I found that interesting, but I did. The Cubs will be at Detroit. Cubs playing really good baseball, by the way. As are the Brewers in the Central. They'll be at Detroit. Detroit with, I believe, still the best record in baseball. Ben Brown. I said that already. What are you talking about, Keith? You're repeating yourself. Anyway, I gave you a little more background on that game. The Astros are at the team formerly known as the Indians. Colton Gordon against Logan Allen. Royals at the White Sox. Seth Lugo and Davis Martin. Padres at the Red Hot Brewers. Randy Vasquez against Chad Patrick, who I just picked up today, by the way. He'll get bombed tonight. Toronto at Minnesota. Toronto playing pretty good baseball at the moment. Twins are in second place, I believe, in the Central. Paxton Schultz at Bailey Ober. Danny's Dodgers are playing at the Cardinals, still playing decent baseball. Justin Robleski, I think, at Sonny Gray, who pitches really well everywhere but for the Yankees. The Mets are at Colorado. The Red Hot Rockies, 3 in a row. Look out, Met fans. Senga against Senzatella. The red cold, ice cold. Seattle Mariners go to the Angels. Bryce Miller at Kyle Hendricks. Baltimore at the A's. Maybe Baltimore keeps this hot streak going, JB. They're at the ice-cold A's, who have dropped the last place in the West. Dean Creamer against J.P. Sears. And the Braves are at San Francisco. Schwellenbach against Birdsong. That's going to be your matchups for the weekend and tonight's pitching matchups. What do you got here? Sorry, I missed a couple things here. Let me go back. Goodbye, Roku. Now we can really talk about you guys. Change of ownership possibly in the Windy City for the Sox. I did see this story real quick. It does appear that Jerry Reisendorf, where is my there we go. I mean, this has got to get approved by the league and everything. Now I've lost it. Damn it. I had it right here queued up and now it's gone. There it is. Jerry Reisendorf reaches a potential sale. It's got to be approved by the majority of the league owners and such. To a minority investor, Justin Ishbaya, have got a framework. I don't know if it talks about money here. I'd love to see what the it'd be interesting to see if they look to keep him in town here, because Ishbaya is a controlling owner of the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury, by the way. Nothing about the money deal here. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on what the money is there. And the White Sox have been rumored to be leaving Chicago for some time. They want a new stadium. This could bear watching. And Drew in fantasy with 3 days to go. By the way, if you didn't, I know you should fail to point out here. I think because you do this on Sundays, which I like. I like a little bit of an update here for the folks. So let me know how I'm getting my ass kicked, especially when it's by you. I was getting my ass kicked on Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, I came back and won that series by 2 points. Again, all the more reason I think it should be 1 point, but that's just me. So Rick's leading 9-7 so far with, by the way, 3 big days to go. And Drew you do have me pretty good in a couple of categories, by the way. You are kicking my ass. I'll use the words. 14-2. When did Reisendorf buy the White Sox? Jesus, he's had them for at least 30 years. Jerry Reisendorf. Let's see. What can I find you? He has owned the Bulls since 1985. So that's 40 years. And he purchased the White Sox in 1981. So 34 years. So look at the map. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. 44 years. I was all excited about my math until I didn't do it right. So there you go. 41 years. 44 years. One of those numbers. Guys, we're going to wrap it up before I get myself more tongue twisted. I got a couple quick work things to go to adjust. By the way, I left here last week after doing the show, and I had to work till like 7 o'clock. $82 days. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy your team. Belmont tomorrow here in Saratoga. I think it'll be journalism, by the way, and a great finish over sovereignty. But there's a couple of long shots in there to take a look at. You got my prediction right here, right now. What do we got here? A couple comments before I go. I'm saying goodbye. Yes, goodbye, Michael. Good to have you with us. Good to have you with us, Drew. As always, guys, we'll see you Sunday with the Stream of Consciousness. Be lots to talk about there. We got NBA. We got the Knicks ridiculously firing their head coach. Well, I'll have lots to say, lots more to say. We got Aaron Rodgers back. We got more baseball. We got the Belmont. We got too much to even go into. You guys have a great, great weekend. And I will see you on Sunday morning at 8:30 with the Stream of Consciousness. Keith Engle for TGI Sports Talks. MLB. See you later. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.